I posted this here before, but the title I chose was a bit lame. I feel like I could have received more replies if I had a title that fit the situation more accurately. Please have a read and let me know what you think. If the repost isn't allowed, then please forgive me. I read through the rules and didn't see anything prohibiting it. This will be a bit long, but that seems to be par for the course on this subreddit. About a year and a half ago I was asleep in bed with my wife. I am having a strange dream about a shadow figure chasing me saying, "You need to let us in. You need to let us in." This voice is calling to me in a child's voice. Imagine the little girl from Poltergeist speaking as a fairly accurate mimic to the voice. I'm running from this thing and it's getting closer, you need to let us in. It gets to the point that this shadow is about 5 or so feet away in the middle of saying, "You need to let us in," and my wife elbows me and wakes me up saying, "Baby, did you hear that?" I'm just coming out of my sleep and she says, "I heard kids talking." I ask her if it was our boys talking. She replies, "No, it wasn't our kids." Even while she was telling me that she heard kids talking, I was already wondering in my mind if I was talking in a kid's voice while I slept. When she said no, it just reaffirmed to me in my head that I was dreaming and talking in a child's high-pitched voice. I play dumb and tell her that I don't know what it is and everything is alright. In my head though, I'm convinced that I'm talking in a child's voice. Really, I just didn't want to freak her out and tell her that I'm being chased by a shadow saying, "You need to let us in," while simultaneously speaking in a high-pitched voice while I'm sleeping. The next day I go to work and I'm telling people that I worked with what happened. I'm not giving the details of me being chased by a shadow, and I wasn't getting into details about what the shadow was saying. What I was telling them was that I was talking in my sleep, and apparently I was talking in a kid's voice because I woke up my wife and she thought kids were talking in our room. I must have told 2 to 3 people about me talking in my sleep while making light of the situation and getting a good laugh out of it. I'm completely certain at this point in time that it was me. Fast forward a year or so to roughly 6 to 8 months ago. At this point in time we've moved from our house in Colorado to a place in Texas. Once again, I'm asleep, and I'm having a near identical dream. A shadow is chasing me saying, "You have to say that we can come in." Once again I am running from the shadow trying to escape while it's saying that over and over. This time the shadow is close. When I say close, I mean within arm's reach. As the shadow is reaching out to grab me and is inches from touching me, a high-pitched child's voice says, "Come in." Now when I describe the words "come in," I want to emphasize that it was said in 2 drawn-out syllables. Come to n. Just imagine it drawn out like it would be said in a scary movie. As the shadow is inches from grabbing me and the words "come in" are hitting the second syllable in the word in, my wife elbows me. "Baby." I wake up and the absolute first thought that pops in my head is that I'm talking in a kid's voice again. I wait for her to tell me that she heard kids' voices again. She asks me, "Were you just standing over me on my side of the bed?" "I just saw a shadow," or maybe she said silhouette, staring down at me. I tell her, "No baby, I was lying here asleep." Once again I didn't say what I was dreaming about or detail what happened before. I do not want to freak her out and say something like, "Hey, that's crazy. I was just dreaming about a shadow figure while you saw one in the room, cool huh?" I downplayed the situation while comforting the wife, but in my head I immediately thought back to the first dream and how it was the exact same dream that happened before. In both dreams a shadow was chasing me. In both dreams it was an identical high-pitched child's voice telling me to let us in. And the most scary thing of all is that in both dreams, right at the climax, my wife has woken me up right as the shadow is about to catch me. After this most recent dream, it makes me wonder if it was actually me speaking in the child's voice the first time. I think back of how I made light of the situation and joked about it at work with co-workers. I went a few months without telling my wife about the dreams, but I finally told her. She remembers both instances and it really freaks her out. I've got to be honest that after the second incident it has caused an immense amount of food for thought on my end. I don't necessarily feel scared from the dream, but the weird factor feels like a 10/10. I've actually had goosebumps while typing out what has happened for you all to read. Anyhow, I'm interested to hear everyone's thoughts.